All right, so when I think about the story of me starting at a company, working just a customer service job, moving into a sales role, which really wasn't kind of where I liked to be, but I did it because it was an opportunity to earn money and move. And then finally settling into a trainer role, which I really liked because I was working with our team. I was training them, new hires as well as existing employees for continuous education, keeping people up to date. And I really liked that collaborative process and that working together. And then I was kind of pressured /asked/ if you don't do this, you're probably not going to get a promotion ever again, to move into a sales manager role, which I did not like at all. And I think one of the reasons that I didn't like it is because I didn't feel like I had a voice with our team. And I don't think I had a voice because I don't think I knew how to make my voice loud enough to be heard in the right way. So I was kind of just going with the flow, even though there was a lot of stuff I didn't agree with. But the lesson here in this is it was blatantly obvious to me after the fact, not so much when I was in it because I didn't know any better, but that just because you are good at one particular job in a company does not mean that you should be promoted to the next level in that linear path. So if you are a good salesperson, it does not mean you should be a sales manager. Those are two completely different skill sets. Now, you can have overlap, and good salespeople can be a good sales manager, but typically you don't see that. Where you do see that as a linear career path is something like what my other profession that I did for years, which was cooking professionally. So you would get promoted from cooking breakfast to being able to cook lunch to being able to go to dinner and work on the salad station and the dessert station. And then you'd eventually get to be the fry cook. And then you'd eventually get to be the broiler cook. And then eventually the saute cook, which is sort of the lead cook in the kitchen. That was more of a linear path. And then eventually you could become a sous chef. And then that's where you see a breakdown right there is because you're good at cooking, when you go up to a sous chef or a chef level, now you're managing people. And that's a different skill set that most cooks don't have, a different skill set that most salespeople don't have. And that's where I stumbled, is I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know how to organize a team. I didn't know how to run a team efficiently. I didn't know how to communicate difficult feedback one-on-one and still move people forward. It was just a real struggle for me. And like I said before, I realized I didn't feel like I had a voice because I didn't know how to make my voice loud enough to be heard. So there were a lot of things that, looking back, like objectively, very poor decisions were made as an office to try to be strategic or try to realign teams or try to go forward on a certain initiative or whatever. Like, hey, that's business, right? You gotta try stuff. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. So, I'm not holding a grudge on that, but things that I really objected to, I knew were not going to work. Even things that impacted my team directly. And I guess I did speak up, but not in the way that I should have. And that was really tough. And at the end of that kind of tenure, I had very, very mediocre results, just sort of blah. I also did not have a very strong team ever. I really didn't even have a strong, A player on my team. So that was kind of difficult. But what ended up happening was there was an opportunity for me to take on a recruiting / training / hiring role. So I went back into that role, and that was, again, a great fit because I was really utilizing the skills that I like. All of a sudden, I was doing some public speaking at events. I was recruiting at events. I was hiring and interviewing people. I was training those people. I was getting them up to speed and then passing them off to the different sales managers and their teams. And that was a much better alignment for my skill set and the way I like to work and all the different things I like to do over the course of the day. And it's easy for me to sit here and say I'm going to work on what I like and only do the tasks that I like. I'm not suggesting that, but the big lesson here, the big takeaway here for me was that just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean that you should automatically be promoted to the next level. And I think where we miss that, and I talked about this on a previous episode where I talked about following my passion of cooking versus not doing that, and kind of where the pitfalls are for people is oftentimes we fail to recognize what we like about the current job that we're in. What are the things that we like? And then let's take those things and let's go to try to find somewhere else that has some other job that has those same skill sets, those same working ways or some overlap, so you are still kind of using the best versions of yourself into that role. So for the training aspect of it, what I really liked about that was the collaborating with people, the working together, kind of the planning. It was more project oriented, where I had a group of 10 people that I was going to train for 4 weeks, so I could lay everything out. I could schedule everything, plan everything, kind of knew what I was going to do. The days looked different every day because I was training different things. We were doing different activities. I enjoy that kind of work. Same reason I really liked the culinary side of things. I like the idea of being able to plan and organize and collaborate with the people next to you and be creative and do those kind of things. So I should have looked for a different job in the same company or a different job at a different company that really leaned into the things that I like to do and the things that I thought I was better at than just being a salesperson. So that is the lesson. Just because you're good at X doesn't mean you'll be good at Y.